I'm here with Peter Lavelle, host of RT's CrossTalk. Peter, last night, me and Alexander Mercuris did a video as to what to expect from the Putin-Kim summit in Vladivostok. The summit has concluded. It lasted 3.5 hours, according to Sputnik News. A lot was said. Peter, debrief our viewers as to what is going on with the summit between Putin and Kim, the first meeting between the two leaders.
Right. What's very important here is we have to remember Russia does have a border with North Korea. I think it's only 17 kilometers. It's very small, but it is a neighbor of North Korea. So what happens with North Korea's security and the Korean Peninsula security in general does affect Russia. The meeting had been planned in advance. Obviously, the North Korean leader doesn't go anywhere on a whim. But what's really significant here is it's a real interesting juxtaposition to what happened in Hanoi. So basically, you had John Bolton and Mike Pompeo telling Trump, you have to tell the North Koreans that they must surrender, and then we can move on, which of course is never going to happen because the nuclear-armed North Korea, that is a means to an end. It isn't the end in itself. It may end up being that way, the way things are going. So going to Russia and consulting with Vladimir Putin, it seems to me very clear here is that the North Koreans, the way they look at these talks with their southern neighbor and the United States, is how do we have a peace process that involves eventual denuclearization? And this is the thing that the United States doesn't understand because the United States doesn't apply diplomacy. Hanoi is a perfect example of that. We're here to accept your surrender. It doesn't work that way. Only one country thinks that way, and that's the United States. And that's why the summit was a complete failure. Now, it's been pointed out to me a number of times by people, the very fact that the United States and North Korea are talking is good. I agree that as a baseline here. But we have to move forward. And it's the South Koreans, again, they don't get enough credit. They're the ones that are pushing this peace process. It's called confidence building. I'll do this and you do that. Then you it's like an onion. It's like an onion and you're taking off those very, very thin layers. And it's going to take a long time. These two countries have been adversaries. One nation, but two countries have been adversaries for over 70 years. And it's going to take a lot of work to get there. Russia and China have already come up with the basic framework, freeze for freeze. Okay, stop nuclear tests, stop these exercises, and that starts creating a momentum. But then you have someone like Bolton and Pompeo that just throw a wrench into the works, and all of that is slowed down and comes to a halt. The South Koreans have a very good position on this. Okay, nothing really much of Hanoi, but we have to keep the process going. And the Russians, I think, obviously, they have a security interest in this. The North Koreans do trust the Russians. And it shows still again, that Russia will be pushing a diplomatic settlement of this and basically telling the whole world, this is a very large problem. It's not going to be solved immediately. There is no silver bullet here. What we have to do is keep the peace process going. Stop talking about denuclearization. That is not the beginning. That is the last point of this whole peace process here. And I think that Russian diplomacy, again, coming to the fore, showing the world and the United States that this is the process you have to go down to. Now, people are saying this was a snub to Donald Trump. No, it wasn't. Okay, this had been in the works here. But Kim is showing Donald Trump, his friend apparently, that North Korea has options here. And it's consulting with the Chinese, consulting with the Russians, obviously in dialogue, as they should be with the South Koreans, their neighbors, the one nation. And so Vladimir Putin and Russia are saying, we're part of this negotiation process to bring peace and to try to rearrange this dynamic here where it is doable. I believe it is doable. I really do. But it's not going to be this very simplistic, linear way that John Bolton thinks. John Bolton says, you agree with us or we're going to destroy you. I mean, there's not much in between, is there? I mean, it's either one way or another way. That's not going to happen here. Also, you have other regional players like Japan that is very concerned about this. They want to see a peace process to move forward because if North Korea continues to be isolated by the United States in the Washington consensus, you're going to have a country like Japan that will say, this is a dead end, and we have to protect ourselves. There's no love lost between the Koreans and Japan. All right, okay, all Koreans in Japan, not just the North here, and so. Could we see proliferation? Well, it's possible, given the technological advancements that Japan has. They could have what they call a breakout period. They have all of the pieces. They could have a bomb in 90 days, and that's the worst possible direction we could be going to, because then you're going to have more proliferation. So China and Russia are pushing the diplomatic initiative, and I think it was a very good idea that Kim went to Russia to show the world that there's not just one country that will decide all of these things. There's a lot of players in this. It's very complicated, and there is a way forward. So the very fact that the meeting happened, it's very, very important. It is on Russia's border, and if we got to the worst scenario, where you have a failed state because of an attack on North Korea, South Korea is going to feel it, China's going to feel it, Russia's going to feel it, and of course the global economy will be disrupted dramatically. Okay, so the peace process is there. The problem is that the Americans have to wake up and realize that that's really what's going on, what should be going on, instead of just these threats after threat after threat. Okay, I mean, they don't even. With North Korea, they're not even in the business of bribing anymore. Okay, it's just brute force. Okay, and that's turning into the hallmark of the Trump administration's foreign policy. I'm just calling it as I see it. Right. And it's very cancerous effect that Pompeo and Bolton have. I mean, the North Koreans don't even want to talk to Pompeo and Bolton anymore. Okay, they want someone else to talk to. Significantly, I'm not going to butcher the man's name, but Kim's right-hand man on these talks, he was left in North Korea, and someone has taken his place, someone that is not seen as hawkish. So it looks also the North Korean side is kind of nuancing its position here. And this is what it's going to be about if it's going to work. Nuance. A lot of nuance on everyone's part. So I still have hope for this. We have to have hope for this. Okay, we can't resign ourselves to this, the worst possible case.
Yeah, I think you're correct. There's a lot of nuance going on. There's a lot of diplomatic effort being put into arranging a peace agreement. It is a gradual process. And you mentioned that it seems like all the pieces of the puzzle are in place and they're moving together. Russia, China, North Korea, South Korea. Why is Bolton and why is Pompeo, why are these guys not able to understand the process? Why are they pushing, like you said, for surrender or else, denuclearization or else?
The interesting thing is that what we have under the Trump administration, but broadly under American foreign policy since the end of the Cold War, is that having an interlocutor like North Korea gives North Korea, the regime, legitimacy. That's something that they can't accept. They can't give legitimacy, and they can't accept bargaining, because that means you lose something.
But if the other pieces accept it, if South Korea accepts it,
I'm just telling you how it works. Okay, I agree. I agree. I mean, there's one person, one party pooper, and destroys the whole party. Okay,
exactly.
I mean, that's exactly what it is. Also, look. At the end of the day, the powers that be in the United States, they actually are not all that. The status quo is tolerable because, that part of the world and part of the Pentagon's budget, it's quite huge. I mean, it's a real gravy train. Why? I mean, if the North and South Korea, they sign a peace agreement ending the armistice, well, then the obvious question will arise, well, if the two countries are at peace, then why do Americans have 30,000 troops there? Okay? It's going to be an easy argument to say, well, we have peace, bye. And the Americans don't want that to happen. Our viewers should realize that if South Korea were going into a state of emergency, a military emergency, it's the United States that takes over the entire South Korean military under their laws. Okay, the U.S. doesn't want to walk away from that. I mean, there's a lot of careers built in South Korea. All right, and plus, there's just this unwillingness that countries like China and Russia could solve this. That is something unacceptable to these people, because only the U.S. can decide what a positive outcome is. Look, I mean, look at Syria. Who's the spoiler in Syria? The United States is, and to some degree, Turkey. But these things can be fixed. And everyone knows Afghanistan was a failure, but it's a real. I mean, for the military, that how many trillions of dollars? It's good business for them.
How many years
good careers?
Are they there? 20 years.
Yeah. And so, I mean. There's a dollar and cents way of looking at it. Careers are built, and if you want to keep maintaining the unipolar world, then you can't let anyone decide. You can't even let countries decide their own destiny. Okay, that's how pathetic this situation is. It is doable. All right, it is doable, and I don't care about the characteristics of the North Korean regime. If you have to decide what you want. You want peace or not, and you have a regime there. You got to deal with it. You got to deal with it, all right? That's something that, the Boltons and Pompeos and, the Atlantic Counts and all of that, they just can't accept the fact that you would negotiate. Because how can they be an interlocutor in good faith? Because they're the North Koreans. It's like talking to a 5-year-old. I read all of these articles about what's to be done with North Korea, and it's always these hawks and all that. And I truly believe, let the North and South Koreans, give them a lot of space and a lot of room, and let them figure out how they want to do it. And then you have these regional powers, including the United States, because the United States is there. Then they should bless it. But see, Bolton, Pompeo, and indirectly Trump, they can't see it that way. And that's why we have this logjam.
Yeah. And so I'm reading the news wires, and it says that Putin's confident Kim's visit to help boost bilateral ties contribute to Korean settlement. So now that this meeting has wrapped up, what is next, Peter, as we're trying to move forward towards peace?
Well, I mean, okay, I think it'll be just two tracks here. I mean, there's going to be the inter-Korean dialogue that will continue, okay? And President Moon of the South, he's the real hero in all of this, and he's not given enough credit for it, okay? If anyone deserves a Nobel Peace Prize, if it has any value anymore, it's the South Korean president. Also, as we've said in our podcasts before, I mean, Trump has owned this, okay? So, I mean, it's really up to him to see if he can, sideline Pompeo and Bolton, if that's even possible right now, and get a new initiative going here. I mean, he owned this. He wants that Nobel Prize. He wants to be the peacemaker. He's just going to have to come up with a different strategy. Look, when Hanoi was looming, we all said, if you're just going to give a diktat, it's not going to work. We all knew that, okay? And during the plan, right before the planned lunch, I mean, then you have Bolton saying, we want complete disarmament, biological, chemical, everything. Okay, give us the keys to your apartment. Okay, we want it all. That's just so naive. Okay, so naive. They have nuclear weapons for a reason. Okay, and it is a means to an end, not an end in itself.
And you said it's going to take a long time if we start to get on a track towards peace. How long do you really see this going on? I mean, is this like a 1 or 2 year process, or could this be a 5-year process, 10-year process?
If there's goodwill, I think it could be 2-3 years. If there's goodwill.
If the U.S. does decide to play ball, if Trump does say, Bolton, Pompeo, shut the hell up, go into a corner, let's get this moving.
I think it's doable. And look, the peoples of both Koreas want it, okay? And that's really important. Right. That's really important.
And it's not.
I mean, there's still family members that are separated. They're elderly, but they still have family. Okay, and we should look at a humanitarian element of this too. Look, do we want a failed state in North Korea? No. Who wins? No one does. All right. So, if everyone has goodwill, there is hope, and there should be hope, and I have it.
All right. Excellent analysis, Mr. Peter Lavelle, host of RT's CrossTalk. Thank you very much. Guys, if you like this video, click on that subscribe button down below. Click on the notifications bell to get notifications every time we push out a new video. And visit the Duran shop. Buy a t-shirt. Help support the Duran. In the description box down below, you'll find links to our PayPal and Patreon pages. Please donate to us. It really helps us out a lot. And of course, you can get a copy of this video in audio format. Follow us on iTunes and on SoundCloud as well. And you can also follow us on Instagram, the Duran_com. And if you're having trouble getting notifications, download the Blank Chat app and follow the Duran channel there. Peter Lavelle, host of RT's CrossTalk. Thank you. Until next time, everybody, take care.